Well, good evening, Trekkies and Trekkers around the globe. It's Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. Welcome to episode 656 of Trek Talking. Wow, is all I can say. Before I get too far, though, I hope you guys tuned in last week and checked out our interview with Christine Horn, the awesome, badass Klingon Bytha. If you didn't, head over to trektalking.com and check it out because she was a blast. And we had a lot of fun talking with her. But before I go too far, I'd like to introduce my awesome Trek experts, and we'll start out with Paul, the toy guy. He's out in Portland. How you doing tonight, Paul?
Hello, Uncle Jim. I'm doing well, sir. This is a magical respite to a frenetic day. And so it's good to have a chance to kick back and leave the Earth atmosphere for a while with you all. So looking forward to shooting the breeze here in the deep vacuum of space.
Yes, we have a lot to shoot, and we're going to get to that shortly. We also have out in Portland, Eric. How you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing pretty good, Jim. And at the risk of sounding like a commercial, I'm very excited about the fact that in about a week, I will be leaving for a short vacation in North Bend, Oregon, where I will be visiting the Itty Bitty Inn, the hotel, the itty bitty hotel that has the itty bitty Star Trek themed room. And I've made contact with the owner there. We're going to chat with each other. Maybe I'll try and get a short interview from him, just talking about his hotel there a little bit. I think that might be fun. He is already a fan of our podcast. He actually contacted me first weeks ago. And so I'm pretty excited to actually meet him in person.
Didn't we do a story on them?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, we did a story on them, and then we talked about them again maybe 6 or 8 months ago, and he contacted me over Facebook after that and said, "Hey, dude, love your podcast. Let me know when you're coming to visit." And so we've chatted. He sent me this free t-shirt. I can't wait to see the joint.
Eric,
Excellent.
I'd like to propose that this is, frankly, a classic setup for like 80s themed horror slasher movie, right? You go to this hotel thinking that it's a wonderful thing for like-minded Star Trek fans, and only to find out that you were abducted and like fight your way out of some kind of Klingon basement. So why don't you consider this a screenwriting research trip? Write it off, right? And we
I
can
think that's an excellent idea.
bang that sucker out in a couple weeks.
I'm in. I'll take notes.
Just bummed I didn't.
We need a catchy title.
I didn't know about it when I wasn't aware of it when we lived in Oregon. So I'm kind of bummed. That and in the Enchanted Forest. Wish we had.
Oh, the Enchanted Forest is amazing. Yeah, that's a fun joint to go to as well.
Well, if you don't come back, Eric, we'll know where to find the body.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a good thing.
Bitty Inn, North Bend.
We'll send David. And also from Portland, we have our own miracle worker, David. How you doing tonight, David?
I'm doing fine, and I hope Eric has a great time.
We have lost David's sound.
Pod people.
Oh, there it is.
Pod people.
Pod people, yeah.
Pod people.
Aren't we?
Pod people. We're all pod people. And not from Portland, we have our very own Charles. He's out in Las Vegas. I love the swaying palm trees. How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing good. Weather's doing fair today, so I jumped out of the outside studio because the cold front isn't due until tomorrow.
Excellent, excellent. And last but definitely not least on our list is our Trek expert V, and she's out in Virginia.
Hello,
how you doing tonight?
All right. We finally have some dipping into these for our early morning temperatures, and so it's crisp and cool, and I feel almost human again.
Well, you'll feel very human when we start talking about Star Trek in a few minutes. So that always lifts you up.
We'll see how it goes, but I did start on Duolingo with trying to learn Klingon. So
nice. That's awesome.
That is.
I can't wait to hear. So next week, maybe 3 words or a sentence or so.
We'll see. Maybe sure. Yeah.
Put something together. Okay, we'll see.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that, V, because I've been in touch with the dude that runs the Klingon Language Institute, and he's going to come on the podcast and teach us all some
cool.
Klingon.
I wonder if that's, I probably said this before, but I wonder if it's the guy that was at GalaxyCon in Richmond this past March.
What was his
name?
Like
I'm supposed to remember.
Well, I know. It's like the Dr. So-and-so, such and such.
I wish I could remember. All I know is that he was really good and really nice and patient. And so we'll see. That'll be cool.
Well, I'm gonna see if he can teach us all some Klingon. That's gonna be a fun one.
Can we learn Klingon insults? I mean, like curse word insult.
Like, your mother
Like
was a
Picard.
lizard, your father
No,
died
just
of
so I
old
can
age,
we can
stuff.
be like Garrick and leave, make several cutting remarks that will no doubt do lasting damage to their
That's
ego,
Your
right.
mother smells like
to
Doc.
their no doubt do lasting damage to their egos. Just
She mates out of season.
ugh.
Boy. So, anyways, guys, you can head over to trektalking.com. You can find all of our shows there, including our awesome interview with Christine Horn from last week. While you're there, you can go and check out our Patreon page. And for only $2 a month, you can help keep this podcast alive. So please do that if you can. You can also find us on Facebook at Trek Talking and Beyond. Please check that out as well. And I think I've said enough. It's time to dive into tonight's show. So tonight we're going to discuss the audio drama Star Trek Con, Episode 1, Paradise. We also have our fan shout outs as usual, where we thank fans around the globe just like you there. We also have our polls tonight, and obviously our polls are going to deal with Khan and an insurrection, possibly. I wonder. And what Star Trek actor do you share a birthday with? Find out on our Star Trek birthdays and what's going on around the Star Trek universe this week. We have Shatner says, "What?" And we also have to Paul and Ben's sneak peeks, which we're going to have with our toy guy. And will there be a Star Trek 4? You'll have to stick around and find out. So without any further ado, head over to our Facebook page, Trek Talking It Beyond. Look for the Live Long and Prosper post pinned at the top. Tell us where you're listening from. Leave lots of dancing, funny emojis because that gets my attention. If you see a heart next to your name from yours truly, Uncle Jim, you want to tune in because you are going to be immortalized in our fan shout outs. So, Eric, would you like to get us started with our fan shout outs this week?
Would I ever? We have a ton of support on my list from the UK today. First, we are giving a big shout out to Austin Nicholas, who says he is originally from the UK, but is now in Ukraine. And I can only guess the many reasons that you may be living there right now, Austin. Hopefully, you are staying safe and doing the things you need to do to keep you and yours safe, and or fighting for the good guys. So thank you for saying hello to us, and hopefully you are enjoying our podcast in your off hours over there. Also like to say hello this week to Daniel O'Donovan, who's saying hello to us from Wales, another little spot on the island just across the pond. Thank you for supporting our podcast. And another one from Gatwick, England this time. We're saying hello to Robert Rayner, originally from the same part of North London as Marina Sirtis. That's pretty cool. I wonder if they have any statues of her there. Maybe there's like a Marina Sirtis themed bar or something. I don't know. Give us more information, Robert. We need to know. And last but not least on my list, I'm saying hello this week to Petra Kataunti. Kataunti? Maybe I have pronounced that correctly. I tried to give it a little German flair because you, Petra, hail from Germany, and you're sending us that nice live long and prosper emoji, which I'm positive is what got Jim's attention. Charles, who would you like to say hello to?
Well, let's start off with a warm welcome to Stone Reed Marshall from Wichita Falls, Texas, and gives us a Vulcan salute. Welcome to James C. Hamilton from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Welcome, James. Welcome from Cleveland, Substantially. Welcome, Mike. And from Northwestern Pennsylvania, welcome, Becky Tree. Welcome, Becky. I wonder who's on V's list.
Well, first I have James Oliver, who says he resides in Dagobah. That's the soggy area south of Georgia. Well, if you have odd little creatures that talk backwards to you, then that's maybe you really are in Dagobah. Next, Terry Marvin, who says, I live in Dallas, Texas, USA. Then Frank Oatley from Isla Morada in the Florida Keys. And then, I have a top fan. That is Jerry Lee from San Antonio, Texas. Thank you all for being our fans. All right, on to you, Paul.
Thank you, V. Appreciate that, friend. First of all, let's get back over to the European neck of the woods and say hello to our pal Katarina Dorkanska, a Star Trek fan from Slovakia, who lets us know that her TV hero is none other than Jean-Luc Picard himself. And that is a great hero to have, somebody with a strong moral compass, Katarina. So thanks for checking in with us from all the way over there in beautiful Slovakia. So great to know that you're out there. Just a little bit further down the road in Bottrop, Germany, we have Achim Feibert who's saying hello to us. We've got fans all over that neck of the woods there, including our pal Annette Froland from Grenia, Denmark. Annette Froland, thank you for checking in and letting us know that there is strong Star Trek enthusiasm in your part of the world. And then let's go over to a country that I'm very fond of. Italia and Provincia de Udine, Sandro Ferrigo. Sandro Ferrigo. I'm excited to know that you're out there and that there is even perhaps now a Star Trek rerun playing with dubbed Italian voices. It just does wonders for me knowing that that is happening as we speak. So wonderful stuff. Not that it's not originally recorded in Italian. I mean, I'm sure that was something that they tried to do whenever they could. But still, I don't know. Just I need to find one of those on YouTube and just savor the language. I think it would be phenomenal. So, Sandro, thanks for saying hi, and to all of our friends on Europe and every other continent. Live long and prosper. Uncle Jim, who you got?
Well, I gotta say, Paul, you haven't heard it till you've heard it in its original Klingon. So just I'll just drop that there. All right. So we want to say hello and thank you to Mary Kay Owens, who's listening to us in Springfield, Missouri, and sends us a couple of hearts. Live long and prosper. And thank you for being a fan to Mary. We also want to say welcome and thank you to Jill Meadows Smith, who's listening to us in Michigan. Thank you so much, Jill. And I have a rising fan, Michael Alizi from Delaware. And last but definitely not least, we have T. Lloyd Riley, who's listening to us in Texas. Thank you so much, each and every one of you guys. Please head over to our Facebook page. Tell us where you're listening from. Leave some emojis. And you can send us a picture, and your picture will be right up. There's Paul and some good looking Klingon. And your picture will be right up there on the screen. Send it to us and we'll get it up there. So not only your name, but your picture will be immortalized as well. That, my friends, wraps up our fan shout outs. There's Paul again with some dude who's got the lobes for business. And it's time for our Star Trek polls. And you know what that means, don't you? That means this. All right. That was the awesome polling song by our very own Eric. Excellent song, by the way. And Paul, not Paul, David, you want to roll the tape? Although it's not technically a tape this time, but you know what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, Jim, it's never technically a tape.
True.
Not anymore.
All right. So there's a clip from the Con Star Trek audio drama, which you can find currently on YouTube. Unfortunately, I didn't get any fan votes or reactions on any of the polls, and I didn't get any fan voting on the audio drama. So I don't know if people aren't listening. I don't know. So in this particular case, we'll just have to talk about it ourselves. So Eric, what is the question?
Well, the first question here based on that clip is, do you agree with Khan's decision to spare the life of Hugo after trying to start an insurrection? And we'll talk more about that when we talk about the episode and what the context of that question is. But it is an interesting decision without going too far into it, because I want to hold my thoughts really for the review. But generally speaking, I agree with his decision. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Paul? Did Khan make the right choice?
Yeah, I kind of feel like I want to talk more about it after we talked about the episode. I feel like we're going in a kind of circuitous order here because I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves when we haven't really talked about it yet. Let's just say it's a bold leadership decision that might go against what less confident individuals might choose to do. So, yeah. And I think it's the right decision. Anything that makes for more interesting drama is the right decision from a writing perspective. So yeah, I would agree with his decision because it's more interesting.
How about you, David? Should he stay or should he go now?
I think it would be interesting if he actually did stay because, I mean, there's 73 people on that planet, right? So where are they all going to go? I mean, yeah, I think it was the right decision, but I think we can talk about it more about it when we get into the topic.
How about you, Charles?
It was a bold decision for a leader. It's a strong message for him that he's willing to trust people even when they challenge his authority.
All right. How about you, Vic?
Well, yes, I agree. So he made the decision to let Hugh stay instead of Hugh go.
I see what you did there.
Because Hugh stay is just weird.
Yeah. You go is much better. Yeah, I think it makes Khan look weak by letting him stay. I think he needs to demonstrate his strength and he should have offed him. But we'll talk more about that later. All right, and we don't have any fan reactions, so we'll move on to the next one. David, roll the audio. All right. All right, Eric. So what is the poll question?
The poll question is, would Khan have used Marla as a breeder if Ursula couldn't reverse the genetic damage done to female augments? And I think we find out in this episode that answer is yes. We hear it from Khan himself.
Absolutely. So what do you think, Paul? You think that Khan was onto something here? Or?
I don't get how it's a question because we know it's we're not siding with the minions or the not. It's a fact in the episode, right?
Did
As
he
Eric
actually
just said?
Did he actually say that in the episode? Did he actually
I'm pretty
say?
sure.
Because I don't
Yeah,
recall him
when-
saying that.
Yeah,
It's pretty heavily implied. I mean, it's. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm scrambled because we haven't talked about the episode first, so I feel like we're going in backwards order.
Well, we can
Sure,
rearrange the
why
whole
not?
show if you guys want to. We'll just go back and rearrange it. I mean, I apologize, but for my imperfections here. But all right, let's move on to the trivia then. All right, or do we want to talk about the episode and then do the trivia? What do you guys want to do here? Please tell me.
I think we ought to do this show first, then trivia.
Oh man, okay.
Okay, let's do the show first
Sure.
then. Okay. All right, so give us a quick rundown on the episode, Paul, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. Just for context to get us rolling, I think it might be helpful. So what we're talking about here is not a television series, but a podcast series. Going back to the old days of radio drama, if you will, a 9-episode series called Star Trek Khan. And tonight we're focusing on the very first episode called Paradise. Okay. And the whole idea of this series is bridging the time period between the events of the original series episode Space Seed and the subsequent Wrath of Khan movie. So this is a podcast of roughly about 30-minute episodes per one of these ones that goes through and talks about Khan's early days on SETI Alpha 5. Kristen Beyer is the main writer on this. She's done a ton of Star Trek over on Paramount Plus. She's written for Strange New Worlds, Picard, Short Treks, Discovery, you name it, along with David Mack. But this is originally based on a story by Nicholas Meyer, who we were lucky enough to have on the show, the tremendous writer-director who penned and directed Wrath of Khan. And he originally conceived this as a 3-episode TV miniseries, was originally his plan. And it eventually got transformed into this podcast series because, as you know, in Hollywood, development can get crazy and there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen and whatnot. But it would be very expensive to do a 3-episode miniseries in like these, planetary environments like we've been describing here. So they decided to go and do it this way. And so they adapted and expanded his original 3-episode scripts into these longer 30 to 40-minute episodes for the audio format. So that's basically the background of it. Really amazing cast that we have here, starring Naveen Andrews from Lost and The English Patient as Khan Noonien Singh. If anyone's watches the Apple show For All Mankind, excellent historical sci-fi show. Ren Schmidt from that series is just terrific in here as Marla MacGyvers. And then we've got a lot of really great cameos and small roles from vintage Trek legends, such as Tim Russ, who's been on the show, as Ensign Tuvok, because this is from back in the day when we know that Ensign Tuvok served aboard the Excelsior with also appearing in this pod series, George Takei's Captain Hikaru Sulu. So pretty amazing, because that's been something we learned back in Voyager. I think it was the episode Flashback where we learned about that. So pretty great background, excellent elements here. And just basically, the framing device on this is really quite clever, I think. And it's a really great way if you're running into things writing for Star Trek and you're concerned about breaking canon, because I know people are always worshiping at the altar of canon, right? The story is bookended by a present day framing device, present day in, Star Trek land, where this Dr. Rosalind Lear, she's a historian, and she is looking for permission to recover the rest of the logs from SETI Alpha 5. And she's able to convince now Captain Sulu to take her there aboard the Excelsior, right? So it's a really great framing device. If you're ever running into canon, you can just say, we ran into these logs that contradict the history we thought we knew. So it's actually pretty clever, I think. And so as we dive into talking about this first episode, the bulk of this consists of Marla MacGyver's audio logs, which begin relatively shortly after Kirk had marooned Khan and his followers on SETI Alpha 5 in the original series. So they're finding the planet to be a very lush, hospitable place, but also full of many other dangers that we're going to get into there in subsequent episodes. The subplot that we are getting into the most on this episode involves the female augment's infertility and a brewing coup against Khan's leadership from this follower named Hugo. All right. And the episode ends where Marla's found out about all this, ulterior motive of her presence there for Khan and her independence. And she tries to contact Kirk and the Enterprise with a communicator that she's kept on her, hidden away. And she's discovered by Khan, and he destroys the communicator, taking away her freedom. And then there is what seems to be implied to be a meteor shower that may be an indication of approaching disaster soon to come from another planet in the SETI Alpha system. But we will find out about that in subsequent episodes. That's not covered in this first episode. So I think that's a pretty, hefty setup in terms of just the premise and the overall content for this show. Does that serve our needs here, friends? What do you think?
Yep.
Covers it. Yep.
Did the
Covers
trick.
it pretty good. People should know. So what do you guys want to do now? You want to talk about the episode, do some trivia, skip some trivia? What do you want to do?
Let's do the trivia, and then we'll get into talking about the episode.
Okay, good idea. So let's do some trivia here. Okay, V, you ready? You're on the hot
Sure.
seat first. So who transports historian Dr. Rosalind Lear to SETI Alpha 5 to look for Marla's missing
Would be
logs?
Captain Sulu.
That's absolutely right. Charles, what crew member beams down to the surface with Dr. Lear?
That would be a very young Ensign Tuvok.
Tuvok. Yep. I wonder if he had the T when he went down there. All right, Paul, what was done to all the female augments?
As we heard in that clip, it sounds like they were all sterilized. They all had their eggs removed, which is just awful. And sounds like something that would have been perpetrated in Joseph Mengele's domain. Really, really awful.
And Eric, what nefarious purpose did Khan have in mind for Marla MacGyver?
Well, she was the backup plan in case they couldn't fix the breeding of the female augments. She would, I guess, populate the planet? Seems like a lot for one woman, but
Yeah.
She's a strong woman, strapping strong woman.
doesn't seem like much of a life.
No, definitely not. It's probably a good thing that the eels got into her ear, though, huh? As we think it was the eels. We don't know yet. And David, why are Khan's followers younger than him?
Because
That's
they
kind
were
of a trick
created
question.
last? I'm assuming?
So in the episode, it says that before they left Earth, he took them and he raided a colony where they had younglings that they were going to destroy. And he went and rescued them all. And those were the children that they rescued from
So he
Earth.
rescued the younglings from.
from Anakin.
When I hear
from
younglings, I know I
I
have the
mean,
exact
that's what
same.
I was thinking.
Same
That's
image.
exactly what I was thinking. Like a
before he
It's
turned
the
into Darth
crossover
Vader.
we've all been
yeah, I was
hoping
gonna
for all these
say a
years.
weird.
I don't think
Doctor Who was
Khan
there
with a
too.
lightsaber
Sure.
would be a good
Right?
idea.
Why not? Uh-huh.
Love it.
You never know. I mean, there could have been a lightsaber in the debris. Who knows? So V, what device did Marla smuggle to the surface
We
that
already
Khan
talked about it, the
destroys?
communicator that Khan then
Yep, the
destroys.
communicator. He wasn't a happy
Mm-mm.
camper, that's for sure.
I think he's got a bit of an
So
anger issue.
Charles. Yeah, he does. He does for sure. Who records the log tapes after Marla dies?
Well, when they went down to the planet and discovered the jam tape, which is probably the last one ever recorded, Tuvok repowered it and found Khan speaking. So
Yes.
he took over the tapes after she passed.
And Paul, who voices Khan in the radio drama?
That would be the fantastic Naveen Andrews, who a lot of folks would recall from the television series Lost, but it was always quite memorable in an early role in The English Patient, but does a really good job here.
And Eric, what does Khan want to build on the peninsula that he puts Yugo in charge of?
Ooh, he wants to build what all megalomaniacs want to build, a coliseum.
Coliseum, that's right. And lastly, David, who wrote the original Khan SETI Alpha 5 teleplay? We had him right here on the podcast.
Yeah, Nicholas Myers.
Nicholas Meyer, that's right. So that wraps up our trivia. The Trek Experts did fabulous as usual. And who wants to dive into the Khan audio play first? V, would you like to go first?
Yeah, first off, taking me back all those years to when they did the Star Wars over the radio, and I recorded them on, is it live or is it Memorex? So this was really good. It's because you don't have anything to to watch, so you have to create all these scenes and all these people and everything in your mind. So that's something that's unique. Great voices. I mean, Khan, I think they picked the perfect actor to voice him, but the whole thing with the female augments and the harvesting the eggs, oh, that just still gives me the heebie-jeebies because it's kind of, I mean, men, taking over women's bodies, that's kind of, rather close to home, shall we say. And so it was very chilling and very, what's that show with the women with the white hats and the red capes? What is that called?
Oh,
Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, so very
Yeah, The
Handmaid's
Handmaid's
Tale-esque. But as we were chatting before the show, the whole thing with history being written by the victors. And of course, I might have mentioned a time or two that I'm in the history field. But I don't mention as much as somebody mentions a certain Star Trek movie. But anyway, but that's true, and it's the point of view from who's recording it or who's writing it. And then when you have somebody that's trying to do it from an objective point of view, do they have, their bias, whether it be conscious or unconscious, will it somehow sneak into the narrative? So basically, I don't know is there ever any history that's like right down the middle? It's exactly how it happened, and there's nobody bending it towards their view. So I guess we will see when we continue listening to this program.
Yeah, I thought that when I was listening to it, Khan, sometimes he sounded just like
Yes, he
Ricardo. I mean, I
did.
could hear the inflections, certain phrases, the way he said things, the inflection in his voice. I swear I was listening to Ricardo at certain points in it. He did a
Yes, he
phenomenal
did.
job
That's what I
of
thought
Khan, I
too.
thought.
And because I know that Ricardo Montalban, when he was getting ready to portray Khan in the movie, it'd been so long since he'd done the uh, Space Seed, so he got a copy of it, and he just watched it over and over and over again. So I wonder if this gentleman who voiced him if he, did the same thing listening to uh, speak the lines of Khan,
Yeah.
because he really, I can't imagine that was just purely coincidental.
No, he was way too
Hmm.
good to just do it by
Yeah.
accident. I also I thought it was great that we finally in the Wrath of Khan, when Joaquin dies, he's like, "You will be avenged," and he takes it so personally, but yet we don't really know why, because he didn't care when any of the other augments died in the explosion. But in this audio drama, we find out who he is and why he cares so much, and I thought that was a great twist to throw in there, which I won't spoil for any of our listeners. But I thought that was really awesome. And unfortunately, though, guys, nobody responded to our poll as to what the fans thought about this. So we don't have any fan reactions. We're just going to have to rely on our reaction. But I thought it was really great. Hearing Sulu at
Hmm.
the beginning was awesome. Tuvok at the beginning was awesome, and it just immediately pulled you right in. And I'm looking forward to listening to episode 2. I've really I listened to it twice. I really liked it, and I think that if you haven't listened to it yet, what are you
Hmm.
waiting for, man? Go check it out. Really. And I think I might be wrong, but I think I heard someone in the background say, "Share your pain." I'm not positive, but I think I heard that in the background in the audio somewhere. So, there might be a special visitor on SETI Alpha 5 that we're not
I
aware of. I'll have to
think,
wait and
Jim,
find
that
out.
may have been the eel in your ear talking to you.
That could be. We'll have to watch future episodes and see, but yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was excellently done. I thought the voice actors were outstanding. I thought the story was moved right along at a really good pace. The sound effects were spot on, and I thought Marla was a great character as well. So, Paul, what do you think?
Oh gosh, Uncle Jim, I echo what you said. I thought it was great. I was really taken by the high quality of the production values on the show, right? I mean, I think, like you were saying, the opening scene, it's basically like a big hearing room, right? And you feel like you're, at a big star base or what have you, right? And this doctor, this historian, is trying to plead her case, and it almost feels like they're having a hearing or a trial or something, very important. And then before you know it, here comes George Takei at her defense, and you're like, wow, it's really George Takei. This is great. And the sound effects and just the vibe of everything, it really felt like Star Trek, right? It really did. And, you know, people may not be used to watching a lot of radio podcasts these days because it's television, right? But a show like this, I think, can go a long way to bringing back the format, right? Especially because the cast is just sensational here. I mean, they do a really good job. Like you were saying about Naveen Andrews, who plays Khan. It's not like an impersonation, right? It's not like he is, "Oh, I am
Hmm.
going to be like Khan." I mean, he's not doing this weird, awkward thing. He's clearly got a very strong London accent. Naveed Andrews does a very strong English accent, but it's tempered and it just fits so well. I mean, you really believe it, and he just the way he relates to Marla MacGyver's, the way he has this combination of like braggadocio and confidence, yet or kind of temper hidden just below the surface. It just reminds you so much of the performances we've seen from Ricardo Montalban. So I just thought it was great. Really excited to listen to more of it. I hope this. It's a great opportunity though to do something on a much more modest budget than a television show, and to sort of explore different areas of the Star Trek universe, right? And expand the franchise in an interesting new way. People love audiobooks, right? So this should be a terrific thing. But I would just, echo what you said to our, listeners. If you have not checked this out yet, this is really great timing because they're releasing these like one episode a week for a while into November. So, it's just a couple of them out so far. It's a great time to get in on the ground floor and check it out. It's on YouTube. It's free, right? I mean, so anybody can partake of this. You don't need to subscribe to anything. And again, I just think the quality level is just Absolutely top tier. Absolutely, I thought it was wonderful. I was grading it. I would give it a 10, frankly, just for creativity, good writing, smart storytelling that was actually willing to like dive in deeper into the mythos of those characters and give us more than we expected. I think this is what happens when you get Nicholas Meyer involved, right? He's such a talented guy and such a good writer. So they had all this rich, fertile ground. Maybe fertile is the wrong phrase to use, but awkward,
There you go again.
awkward. But they had this rich vein of ore to mine from, right? And so we got a lot more than we ever would have expected, and it just in good taste and exciting. And I'm excited to see where they go with it, right? It's like the secret history of SETI Alpha 5 that we never knew. So I think any Star Trek fan who likes Wrath of Khan, you don't want to miss out on this. This is great stuff.
And I believe, if I remember my notes when I read correctly, that they brought in David Mack to flesh it out into the full 9 because Nicholas only did three episodes, I believe, and they made this into 9. So they hired David Mack to flesh it out. And was it Christian Byer? Who
Well,
was?
I think what happened was there was an original story that was written by our good director, and then that was actually not adapted into the radio play, but the concepts from that were taken by Kristen Byer and David Mack, and actually they wrote all of the episodes for this thing.
The concept.
Yeah.
Jeepers, she's on fire tonight.
It's a punapalooza out there in Virginia tonight. Look out, friends.
Is that hat squeezing your head a little tightly there? Is that what's going on?
Sure, let's just go with that. Yeah.
A lot of times we get all fired up during the day, and then we get on the podcast and we just like can't contain ourselves anymore. It's just everyone blows a gasket.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Yeah, we have to also remember that this is a version of Khan that we haven't really seen, which I think also is a dynamic that fans have to give it a chance to and stop with this canon crap because we don't know. I mean, we don't know what crazy Khan is like in the Wrath of Khan, but what led him there? What brought him to the brink? What did he go through to end up being the Khan that we see on the Reliant? And this is telling that story. So, I got to echo Paul. If you guys aren't checking this out, I know. By the way, I wanted to post the links on our Facebook page to give our listeners a chance to just click the link, listen to it, and easily answer our polls. But guess what? They're geo-locked. And when I try to share it on our Facebook page and you click on the link, it won't play. You physically have to go to YouTube and click it there.
Weird.
If you click on the links that I post, it will take you to YouTube, but it won't play. You have to physically go to YouTube and click it. So I apologize for that. I tried it a couple times. I don't know what they did to it when they encoded it, but you have to go to YouTube to watch it, unfortunately, because I want to make it as easy as possible for you guys. And I couldn't do it, so I apologize for that.
Does the podcast have its own like Facebook page that would maybe contain a link that we could forward their post?
It might.
We could share their post. We could share their post is what I mean. I think that's what I was trying to get at. But maybe that would work.
I can check into that. All right, and see if we can make that happen.
Because they must want people to discover the show, right? I mean, it's really, I really hope they do because it's a kind of a the potential for this to go into other uncharted places, for Star Trek is great.
And it's excellent too. David, what about you? You've been pretty quiet.
I was just waiting for my turn. Yeah, I really enjoyed the series, and I actually have to echo on what Paul said too. Like, if they can continue this with other series, I would totally listen to a Klingon podcast, or even like all the other aliens that are out there. So it would be kind of interesting to kind of like combine the different backstories that we've seen in the TV series to just like say like, oh, this character came into this somehow, and this is how it happened. So you get to listen to it, and it's free. If they continue doing it for free, you just got to go to YouTube, and hopefully people will start subscribing and get more followers. That way, you can get people to get them to produce more of the content, and that way we could just grow the franchise out with the audiobook. So I think it'd be really interesting to come up with different types of characters and stuff. But this particular one for Khan, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was top notch, and I would have to give it a 10. So I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I even liked the different sound effects because, as you guys know, I do have a little bit of hard hearing, and just even having that little footstep coming through, you get to imagine like what is actually going on in that audiobook. So it's just like it's pretty fun to listen and just enjoy Star Trek coming back. So I give it a 10.
And something I forgot to mention that David just jogged my feeble old mind. People that are saying, it's not canon, it's not real Star Trek, yada, 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 yada. Well, first of all, go jump off a bridge. But there's a very important fact you have to remember here. Paramount passed these guidelines for fan films. One of their guidelines is that you cannot use actors or official actors. Like, you can't have George be Sulu. You can't have Tim be Tuvok in a fan production. They don't allow it. You can use the character of Sulu or Tuvok, but it has to be by Joe Blow from Idaho. You can't use the actors. Well, guess what, guys? In this particular audio podcast, George is doing Sulu and Tim is doing Tuvok. Therefore, it's official. So for those people that are tearing it down, saying it's not canon and it's not official, no, it absolutely is. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. How about you, Charles?
Okay, so I hit my notes. One thing for this one. You're trying to find it. You can find it on YouTube. Yes. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Audible. Some of the other ones, I'm sure Spotify has it on their list. And I was expecting a pay to listen to this series. And I was floored when I got episode 1. It's like, it's free. It's like, it's free. It does have commercials in it. But I don't mind that few commercials to have a fabulous series like this put together with commercials that I can get to sit there and listen to. People are wondering, well, when is this coming out? This is coming out, I think, U.S. times every Monday. Every Monday, there's a brand new episode. I get up Pacific time at 6 in the morning. It's already there, ready to go. In fact, the first episode I got to listen to the day it released. I haven't listened to episode 4 yet, but I do plan on listening to that soon to hear what happens with that. But I go back, okay, V mentioned the Star Wars radio broadcast. I remember back when the BBC did the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy radio broadcast, and that got me hooked in the books. Back when CBS Radio used to do their radio theater. And then there are occasions for me, I jump in and occasionally look for podcasts of role-playing. And that's the same concept. It's these characters are sitting there running a story, and I'm watching it in my head as I'm listening to them do this story. So I love audio dramas. Now, one of the questions that Paul said, oh, this sounds a little like a court case. Actually, to me, it was a court case. She was on trial to, can she do her research? And then Sulu came along and said, well, what are you doing with this stuff? And they pose a question. And I think it's going to be down the line it gets answered, but I'm curious about the answer to this question. Did Kirk purposely put them on a planet that was threatened? That's the question that comes up is, did Kirk know what was going to be happening to this planet? We don't think so. And Sulu surely doesn't think Kirk would sit there and put them on a dying planet. But when they go down to investigate the planet, they said, well, this once was a lush planet. And now it's a dying planet. So it's interesting to see, okay, what did Kirk know when they put him on this planet. Because we talk about SETI Alpha 6, SETI Alpha, like, what happened to the other SETI Alpha? And that's we learned in Wrath of Khan that planet had destruction. I forgot what caused it, but it had a self-destruction. So we know something happened. Well, did anybody know about this beforehand? So I like the questions in there. We see what kind of leader Khan is. Khan's a strong leader. He can sit there and pull a speech, and his followers will sit there, and you hear the cheering in that one spot. Khan, Khan, Khan. These leaders definitely are willing to follow him. So I think it's an interesting perspective to what it was like after Khan left the Enterprise and how he felt about what happened. And the continuing episodes kind of lead on to you kind of get yourself on the edge, wonder what's going on. So you're looking forward to seeing what's happening next. And this definitely would be an up there 10 for this one because it's just a fabulous production.
It is absolutely outstanding.
Yes.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah,
You've heard a lot from a lot of people, so
yeah, that's okay. I got some more fresh stuff to talk about. So first of all, I think this is great as a first foray into this concept of the Star Trek universe. This is something that, they've been talking about over there for a while, and so far the universe has consisted only of television shows. And I like the fact that we're actually moving beyond just television shows now, that we're going into other media. And as a person who listens to a lot of audiobooks and even audio dramas and that kind of stuff, the format really works for me. I recognize that, we say, well, why don't we sit down and listen to the old radio plays? Well, it's because there's 10,000 channels of television out there now, and everybody feels like they need to be constantly stimulated. But here's what I'll say. If you feel like you're too busy to listen to something like this that's just audio, consider listening to it in your car when you're driving from place to place. These episodes are, like Paul said, 30 to 45 minutes each. You can sort of listen to them in a few different chunks, and the continuity is very easy to follow. So I love the ability to explore a little bit more Star Trek. I also listen, of course, to Star Trek novels in my car, but to get this kind of like fresh content coming out is really special for me. Charles already mentioned that this is available on all your podcast softwares. So it's not just YouTube, it's on pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts, which I think is really cool. And then just diving into the story a little bit, I love that they kind of start out, we talked about the courtroom scene, so to speak, at the beginning. The thing that I find really cool about that is, somebody mentioned this earlier, this idea that history is written by the victors. In this case, it's Dr. Rosalind Lear who not only acknowledges that, but uses it as a way to say, hey, maybe Khan wasn't all bad. Like, people say that he was this terrible tyrant and that kind of thing, but there's got to be more to the story than just him being bad for the sake of being bad. I like that idea that we're kind of going down this road. Like, we already know the end of the story, right? The end of the story is Wrath of Khan. Khan dies. Spoiler alert. But like, how does he become this super vengeful being that is chasing after Kirk? Which, by the way, from a timeline standpoint, I like that the new timeline in this one takes place after Kirk's death. So he's not part of this story at all, which I think actually is necessary to be able to fully explore the alternate things that might have been going on with Khan. If Kirk was around, he would have been like, oh, he's a bad guy, and So timing's great. The idea of exploring all the complexities around Khan is great. When we first meet Khan in this one, he's kind of portrayed as this optimistic leader. He's like, maybe it was a good thing that Kirk marooned us on this planet, man, because now we can remake this planet in our own image. We can use all of its resources. There's this concept that the augments have of kind of domination, right? Like, we can dominate this place. What do they say? They like tell the young Joaquin character, he doesn't say like, go fishing and get us some dinner. He's like, go to the river and make it give up its bounty. Like, whoa, okay, jeez. I mean, would he go in there and like wrestle some fish down or something? I don't know. But the idea that he's like got this concept of, yes, building an empire, but he's optimistic about what's going on because Kirk helped him, despite the fact that he was sort of defeated by him, have all of these resources out there and ability to actually do that. So I like that. And then it's also a little complex because you're thinking, well, he gives these great speeches, he's a great orator and stuff, but is that just propaganda? Is that just because he is a megalomaniac who wants to rule some type of planet regardless of what's going on? Or does he really care about the people who are there? I think that question is still open for interpretation, which I really like. So, and then let's talk about McGivers. So she's a great, or MacGyver, is it MacGyver's?
Yeah.
McGivers? I think this is MacGyver. So let's talk about MacGyver. So, she's not well liked. We listened during the trivia section there to a scene where it's sort of revealed to her that she was brought along by Khan to be a breeding mare. And she had put all her trust in Khan, right? At the end of Space Seed, like she kind of was enamored by him, and like she was willing to throw away her Starfleet career to go along with this guy to some planet and be marooned. Are you kidding me? And then there's like this duplicity in Khan. He seems like he loves her, but then he maybe doesn't really. Just a really cool, complex story. I also like that she has this kind of unique knowledge of Federation technology. Kirk gave them all this stuff, but they don't know how to use it. They don't even know what the medicines do. They're saying, do you have something that does this, or whatever your modern day equivalent would be? So there's an ignorance to the augments, despite their intellectual superiority, wherein MacGyver's is actually, needed to be there. So I think that's really cool. I love the story of the couple that's looking to get pregnant. Apparently they brought some frozen embryos along with them too, which was kind of an interesting little twist. At first, and I'll say not relative to that, but relative to just a couple of different characters, it got really confused the first time I listened to this, because there was a kid whose name was Joachim, and then there was an adult whose name was Joaquin. And I read about that, and now I get it. So what they were trying to do with this story is they're trying to correct an inconsistency in the canon, so to speak, wherein in Space Seed, there's an older guy playing the character of Joaquin. And then in Wrath of Khan, Joachim is a young person, right? So those are two different characters, and one is the son of the other. And it took, like, the second time I listened to it, then I was like, it's not that different people are pronouncing the same name different ways. It's that it's literally two different names. It's two different characters. Now I get what's going on with these. So I like that they took this opportunity to kind of make that little micro adjustment to something that people have been complaining about since Wrath of Khan came out back in the 80s. Very savvy, very cool way to do it. I just really dug that. Yeah, I won't tell you what happens in the end here. It was kind of a cool ending to the episode. I can't wait to see where that goes in the next episode. But overall, I agree with all the Trek experts here. This is a 10 for me. Love the format. They're knocking it out of the park. The acting is great. The sound effects are great. I'm just really enjoying it right now. So I can't wait for more.
I also thought it was interesting that Marla refused to hang out in Khan's tent or cabin, whatever. She wanted to live in the cargo pods because she wanted to earn the respect of the rest of the augments, because they didn't respect her.
Yeah.
So she was trying to earn their respect by being her own person. I thought that was, that gave the character a lot more dimension and depth than she had when she was on the show.
Well, yeah, and it shows her not just being this woman who like gave her life over to Khan, but like somebody who's actually in transition herself, right? She's recognizing that she gave away this Starfleet career and she needs a space to be her own, because she's not just there to be Khan's woman. I love that.
Yeah, and the fact that that she brought a communicator with her. You know,
Just in case.
that says, maybe this con thing might go south. I got to be prepared. So she brought a communicator with her,
Yep.
which was another interesting fact. So, do you guys think that Kirk had the right to be judge, jury, and executioner in this particular situation with Space Seed? Did he have the right to just send all these people away without, Federation jury, or however they do it? You guys think that Kirk made the right choice?
Well, so we touched on this a little bit last week. I think I agree that it was absolutely the right choice because they'll break out of any prison. So you couldn't really send them to prison. You're probably not going to be able to psychologically reform them in any way because they were literally genetically manipulated from the beginning to be these conquistadors. So what else are you going to do with them? And I don't think that Kirk knew that Ceti Alpha 5 was going to break up. I feel like he even says that somewhere in Wrath of Khan, where he's like, the intent was not to send these people to a planet that was doomed. The intent was to give them a second chance and allow them to live out their days somewhere where they could do it. But yeah, I just don't know what other choice he had, right? He could either send them away, exile, or execute them or something. I don't even know. Yeah. There's not a lot of choices.
Yeah, and at the end of Space Seed, right? I mean, his decision seems like a really badass, cool one, right? Because they're having a trial, right? Because the guy just mutinied and took over the whole ship, right? I mean, I guess it's not mutiny if you're part of the crew, but he was, had Kirk in the deep compression chamber and whatnot, and he's like, "I'm ordering all charges against you dropped," and it's like, people are amazed. He's
Dun, dun,
dropping,
dun.
and he's just he basically gives them this, exile option, right? And because it's I can't remember the title, but there's a early Next Generation episode where they find the Klingons that have been in a suspended animation for a while.
Oh, from long ago, yeah.
Yeah, and they're people who aren't part of the time they're in now, right? So they don't fit in. They're perennial misfits, right? They're out of time, and they don't belong in this time. So this is a chance for him to do it, and he's kind of dares him. He's like, your ancestors tamed a continent. Can you tame a world? Right? Just the way he did it, all Shatnery, and I mean, it seems like a really cool, because he's talking to Khan on terms he knows he'll appreciate, and busts out the Milton line at the end, better to rule in hell than serve in heaven, right? Which is, that's Kant. So it's great. I think it's a really cool thing. I mean, they would have, it would have been a real waste to incarcerate these people, and they would have, like you said, they would have broke out. So it's really cool. I mean, it's a very timeless, enduring story. I think it continues to fascinate us because the themes don't go away.
I also think one of the things about the Wrath of Khan that I don't want to say bothered me, but one of the things I always thought was strange was how become all of his followers on the Reliant are much, much younger than him. And then we find out in this audio drama that they were rescued. I'm calling them younglings, young augments, that he rescued from Earth, and that's why they were all so much younger than him, and he was like the grand poopah of all of them, the grand poopah, which I thought was cool. And the Joaquin thing that Eric touched on, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that they addressed that as well. I thought it was an outstanding audio drama. Absolutely. I would give it a 10 myself. Unfortunately, we don't have any fan ratings, so we have our R ratings.
We can only assume that every single one of them would have given it a 10, Jim.
Yes,
I think that's the safe assumption.
Let's go with that.
And we can always ask for ratings again, right? Because now maybe especially after this episode gets out, maybe people will watch it. So maybe next week or whatever, we ask again for fan scores, right? And by then maybe people will have caught on with them and there'll be more awareness. Because I think when we first did it, people just didn't know because they haven't promoted this as widely as television, right?
Yeah.
So Maybe awareness just wasn't there yet, and people weren't hip to it.
Yep, and I don't think I gave my rating, but I will join the rest of you and say yes, absolutely a 10.
Wow, are we
Yeah.
unanimous? 10?
Unanimous.
It's amazing. I don't know, has that ever happened?
Well, you know
That's
what?
so
I
great.
could have, no, I
Audiobooks.
take that back. I give it a 9.375.
Uh-oh.
Dang it!
No, I'm
Why you gotta do
kidding.
that?
For a second, it's a 10.
We know where you live.
V, you're fired.
No, I'm kidding. It's a 10 for me too. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to listening to episode 2 and seeing where this is. There's how many episodes are there, Eric? 10?
I think it's 8 or 9. Charles probably
9.
knows off the top of his head.
9
Nine, yeah.
episodes. We're on episode 4 that just came out Monday.
So we'll do episode 2 next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. It gives you guys an opportunity to go out and catch up, listen to episode 1, listen to episode 2, and be part of the conversation. Especially a lot of our overseas listeners as well, so they don't feel left out.
Mhm.
So that's cool. And that pretty much wraps up our discussion on Khan, the audio drama, unless there's any interesting tidbits or anything that anybody wants to add, throw in there about Khan before we move on.
No, I mean, the one thing that I didn't mention, I wasn't sure if anybody else was going to mention it, but this story of Khan being on SETI Alpha 5 has been explored a couple of times in the past. But if you're a canon freak, if you really care about it, remember this is the one that's official. So there was a comic book back in the mid 2000s, something like that, 2008 maybe a little later, called Khan Ruling in Hell. That, by the way, was a fantastic comic. You should absolutely check it out. It is not totally consistent with what we're learning now, but it's still worth a read to me. And then I believe there was a series of novels too, which I wrote down, but somehow I can't find my note on what that series of novels was called. Those were also written in kind of that mid 2000s time period. So, go back, read those.
It was Greg Cox's Eugenics Wars.
Eugenics Wars, yes. Okay.
2001 to 2005.
Okay. So those were not bad books at all. I mean, I enjoyed them. I read them years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. And so they're worth a read. Not official, but that doesn't mean they couldn't have also happened. And why not just enjoy the story for what it is? But this audio drama, man, if you're a canon person, you got to listen to it. Otherwise, your knowledge is incomplete.
Absolutely. And I think I posted the cover for that comic book on the Facebook page because I think you commented on what a great read that it was.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just looking for stuff for to throw out there for our fans, and I happened upon that. I put that out there, and Eric had mentioned that he read it and recommended it to you guys.
I mean, it's one of those ones that if you're going to your local comic shop and digging around in the Star Trek boxes, you can often find a copy of that particular comic in there. I don't remember how many pages it was, but I feel like it was a longer format. It was like that, one of those 32 or 48 page things or something. It was a thick one. And it had a whole story just in the one issue. So go check it out.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, you know what time it is now. It's time for our Star Trek birthdays. And that means we have to find our Klingon song, which is right here, and get this out there. And you know what? When we talk to the professor from the Klingon Language Institute, we're going to have to play that song for him and ask him, literally, how does this song translate into Klingon? Because Klingons don't have a happy birthday, so it'll be interesting to see what he says.
It's the "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow" tune, so I always assumed that they were translating that into Klingon, but it would be interesting to know.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him when he comes on the podcast. So keep that in mind as a question for him. All right, guys. So this is a part of the show where we do our Star Trek birthdays, obviously. And we usually like to start out our Star Trek birthdays by remembering those members of our Star Trek family who, sadly enough, are no longer with us. And for that, we turn to Eric.
Well, Jim, we're going to start this week with a pretty heavy hitter, not in very many episodes, but definitely an actor that we remember from back in the TOS days. We would like to say happy birthday this week to Roger C. Carmel. He, of course, is famous for playing the role of Harcourt Fenton Mudd in the original series' first and second season episodes Mudd's Women and I, Mudd. He also, of course, voiced the character in the animated series' first season episode Mudd's Passion. You know, Roger began his career in television back in the early 60s, and he was on a lot of the shows that you may have remembered from that time, including Naked City, Car 54, Where Are You?, The Dick Van Dyke Show. He was on The Munsters, which is probably where I saw him first because I was a Munsters freak when I was a kid. But in 1980, he won the regular role of Lawrence Brody in the NBC series Fits and Bones, which unfortunately only lasted 5 episodes. But he got to work with Diana Muldaur, so, you know, it was probably worth it. They also made a little TV movie that reprised that in 1982. After that part of his career, he pretty much became a voice actor. And one of the places that I really know him from was he was on that Transformers original television series back in the day. And he got to play so many good bad guys. So he voiced some of the most terrifying voices on the show, including the Combiner Bruticus. He voiced Cyclonus. I know you all don't know who any of these characters are, but Transformers fans will know. He got to voice Menasar, Motor Master. He voiced the Quintesson Leader. He actually voiced Unicron at one point. And of course, the horrifying disgruntled businessman. You know, of course, he wasn't the only one. You'll remember that actually Leonard Nimoy voiced some characters on Transformers too, so that was pretty cool. He was also the voice of Smokey the Bear in countless Forest Service public service commercials throughout the 1970s and 1980s. So well known for that face, that mustache, and his wonderful voice. Thank you so much, Roger C. Carmel, for your contributions to Star Trek and beyond. Unfortunately, we lost you at a young age, only 54 years old, back in 1986. Happy birthday. Happy birthday as well to Mike Dugan, the actor and stuntman who played the Kalar Warrior, aka the Neanderthal Man, in the original TOS pilot episode The Cage. He had myriad uncredited acting and stunt roles throughout the 50s and 60s, about 64 acting credits, but you'll only find 4 of them on his IMDb page. And he had more than twice as many stunt credits, about 9 stunt credits to his name. Other things you may have seen him in, 3 Godfathers from 1948, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon from 1949, Thunder Alley from 1967, and The Destructors from 1968. Mike lived to be 90 years old. We lost him back in 2002. Happy birthday to Mike Dugan. Happy birthday to Stephen Markle, the actor who portrayed Kova Thole in the Next Generation 3rd season episode Allegiance. He had various guest roles in shows like One Life to Live, House, The OC, The West Wing, Without a Trace, lots of shows kind of from those early 2000s. He was on 27 episodes of The Edge of Night in 1982, playing Lieutenant Tom Loomis, and then also had a handful of other movies and TV movies to his credit. Happy birthday, Stephen Markle. Happy birthday to Charles McCulley, the actor who played Landru in TOS first season episode Return of the Archons, and Jarrus in the second season episode Wolf in the Fold. He worked from the early 60s to the early 90s, including several appearances as Perry Mason's hapless opponent, District Attorney Hamilton Berger. If you're a Perry Mason fan, you probably recognize this face. His aristocratic bearing and sonorous voice often led him to be cast as judges, doctors, attorneys, and other authority figures. But where I really love him is he starred as Count Dracula in the blaxploitation horror film Blackula in 1972 with fellow Trek actors Elisha Cook, Thalamus Rasulata, and William Marshall, who portrayed, of course, the title role. Charles McCulley lost back in 1999 at 71 years old. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Richard Hurd, the American actor who played Owen Paris in the 6th and 7th season episodes of Voyager. Yes, that boy's dad. And LaCour in the Next Generation 6th season episodes Birthright Part 1 and Part 2. This is a face I know you all know. He's perhaps best known for his role as the Visitor Supreme Commander John in the science fiction miniseries V from 1983. He's also known for starring opposite William Shatner in T.J. Hooker for playing Admiral Noyce in Sequest DSV, and for his recurring role as Mr. Wilhelm on Seinfeld. At one point, he was the third national vice president of the Screen Actors Guild and was a member of the Enterprise Blues Band, a musical group that writes and performs songs about Star Trek. So cool. He plays the gut box bass, the kazoo, and sings. So there you go. Richard Hurd, multi-talented, was in all kinds of stuff. I remember him mostly from V, to tell you the truth. Loved that show when I was a kid. We lost him at 87 years old back in 2020. Happy birthday to Richard Hurd. Happy birthday to Arthur Bernard, the stage actor, the stage name of Arthur Friedman, who played Apella in the TOS second season episode A Private Little War. In 1948, he began a 42-year tenure as a professor at the UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television. He taught courses on acting and directing for film and television, as well as broadcasting, sportscasting, and production techniques. He also wrote, produced, and directed various projects for radio, television, and the stage. Among these was the radio series Turning Point, which ran from 1950 through 1965. That's 15 years, which featured interviews with over 100 celebrities. Really cool guy. He doesn't have very many acting gigs, but his impact on the entertainment industry is undeniable. Happy birthday to Arthur Bernard, lost back in 2001 at 81 years old. Also saying happy birthday this week to William Wyndham, the actor from New York City who's well known for his portrayal of Commander Matt Decker, a character I know Paul in particular likes a lot, from the TOS second season episode The Doomsday Machine. In 2004, he reprised the role of Commodore Matt Decker in the In Harm's Way episode of the fan series Star Trek New Voyages. He won an Emmy Award in 1970 for his performance in the short-lived James Thurber sitcom My World and Welcome to It. I was unfamiliar with that. Sounds like
Yep,
V
I
might
know.
know a little
That
something about
was
that one.
yeah, that's because my dad watched it and he got me into it. And
I'll have to seek it out and see if I can find an episode or two. But, you know, William Wyndham is probably best remembered for his recurring role as Dr. Seth Hazlitt on the hit mystery series Murder, She Wrote, co-starring, of course, Michael Horton, in addition to the wonderful Angela Lansbury. He was a prolific actor and has over 250 credits on IMDb. 250! That's a lot. William Wyndham, we miss you. Lost back in 2012 at the age of 88 years old. Happy birthday to you, sir. And last but not least on our remembrance list this week, we say happy birthday to Persis Kambata, the Indian model and actress who played Ilea, and of course the merged Ilea probe from Star Trek, the motion picture, the greatest Star Trek movie of all time.
Wait, I thought Star Trek 5 was the greatest ever.
I just had to say that. I'm not even sure if I believe it, but it is fantastic. She, of course, was born in Mumbai, India, in a middle-class Parsi family. She started her career at age 13 years old when she was hired for advertisements for a soap brand after photos of her taken accidentally by a famous photographer became popular. In 1965, at age 17, she was named Miss India and participated in that year's Miss Universe pageant. Unable to find success in the Indian film industry, also known as Bollywood, though, she began acting in international films. And her performance in the motion picture led to major roles in the films Nighthawks from 1981, Megaforce from 1982, and Warrior of the Lost World from 1985. Unfortunately, she never really found success in her acting career, despite her talents. However, and she decided to return to India to try once again to establish herself as a Bollywood actress, but that didn't work out. So she returned to the United States and began working in television in various capacities. Persis Kambata unfortunately lost all the way back in 1998. She was very young. She was only 49 when we lost her. But man, what a pivotal role in that movie of playing Ilea. And we miss her, and so cool that we can actually still see her every once in a while on film when we annually watch the best Star Trek movie of all time. And that, folks, does it for our remembrances. So I'm going to pass this flaming birthday candle on to my good friend Charles.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Let's all start off with a warm happy birthday to Scott Vivenny, who portrayed Bob Briggs in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. One of the characters we didn't quite like in that movie for things he did. Happy birthday to Sarah Raines, who played Eleni in Star Trek Voyager's second season episode Innocence. As we see, she also got to play Hannah in Toy Story.
Oh.
Happy birthday to S.D. Chandler, actress who played Alana Mirren in TNG's first season episode Coming of Age. Happy birthday to Lindsay Stoddard, actress who played Individa in Star Trek Enterprise's third season episode Chosen Round. Happy birthday to Bridget Ann White, actress from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who played Laurel in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's sixth season episode Who Mourns for Morn. And last on my list is Natala Nugolchich, who played Anaya Nedjevich in TNG and DS. Was she one of the good admirals, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think she was a good admiral. I think that you'll get some flack for that from particularly misogynistic men. But yeah, her heart was definitely in the right place.
Oh, that's good. So we got one of the rare good admirals. So, Paul, I hope you have some good admirals on your list.
Well, we'll see. We have some interesting folks on here for sure, Charles. Absolutely. First of all, let's say happy birthday to Mimi Craven. Mimi Craven is the stage name of Millicent E. Meyer, actress who played Jisa in Voyager's sixth season episode Dragon's Teeth. Happy birthday as well to Shay Astar, actress and singer as well, who played Isabella in Next Gen's fifth season episode Imaginary Friend. A couple of cool episodes there. Today is the birthday of the legendary Len Cairo, a Canadian actor who played an alien taking the appearance of Vice Admiral Janeway in Voyager's third season episode Coda. But Len Cairo is something of a legend. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Eric, but he won the Best Actor in a Musical Tony Award back in 1979 for originating the role of Sweeney Todd.
I did not know that. That's cool,
Yeah,
though.
absolutely. Yeah, he was quite in the late 70s, early 80s, quite well known. He was in 1970, going back even further, he was Tony nominated for Applause and then again for Little Night Music. And he's actually in the film version of Little Night Music as well. But wonderful New York actor. The Tom Selleck show Blue Bloods. He played Tom Selleck's father on that for quite a weird, even though he's only 5 years older than Tom Selleck, but still a little Hollywood magic there. But Len Cairo's pretty phenomenal. So we salute you, sir. Happy birthday to a Broadway legend and Star Trek alumnus. Also having a birthday today is Antoinette Bauer, German-born British actress who played Sylvia in the second season episode Cat's Paw. She was like right out of a Hammer horror flick, the way she was. Just the one seduced a little too close to evil, doing all kinds of nefarious things. She just really gave it all, left it all on the stage in that episode. She was great. Well done, Antoinette Bauer. And I'm delighted to be able to wish a happy birthday to this gentleman. If you go to the internet, it says retired actor, but I just don't want to believe it. I just don't want to believe that he's done because he's such a talent. The great Avery Brooks is born October 2nd. Actually, I've got my dates all wrong.
October
2nd. I don't know what day it is. It's been a crazy week. I really don't. So today is Avery Brooks' birthday. Gosh, but incredibly accomplished stage, television, film actor, a teacher, a civil rights advocate, best known, of course, in Star Trek for being the phenomenal emissary Benjamin Sisko on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He is the only actor who appeared in all 173 episodes of that series, in addition to directing several other episodes. I still remember the first time I saw Avery Brooks I don't know. Jim probably will remember this. This is going way back.
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say, right?
I do.
This is going back. I'm like, I was, what, 85, I think it was, something like that. There was a show called Spencer for Hire
Hawk.
with Robert Urich,
Yep.
right? And they brought him in to be kind of the dangerous, wrong side of the law assistant, right? And he was just such a badass. I don't know that there'd ever been such a badass on television before. It was just like, what? I mean, he was just so tough and threatening and cool all at once. He was like out of a Tarantino movie. He was just amazing. Way, 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 way back in the day. And he was in like 65 episodes of that season, and then all these different subsequent series. He had a spin-off series called A Man Called Hawk. He was in Roots the Gift, voice actor on Gargoyles. He did a ton of great work. And in the really interesting film, American History X. I don't know if folks have checked that out. Very dark, challenging film with Edward Norton and Edward Furlong, but really amazing stuff. But he's in that as well. But just a Star Trek legend, and this Cisco story goes on in comics, so we get a lot of that. But man, that's an individual I would love to sit down and talk to. I mean, there's so much great work. I remember when I first heard he was getting cast, I'm like, they're casting that guy to be a Star Trek captain? That's the baddest ass move ever.
But
I was
yeah.
floored because it was so courageous and cool. He was such a dark character. I mean, he's not going to be, a typical nice captain. He's going to have nuance. And then just what he did, being the widower survivor of Wolf 359. It's like, damn, hardcore. So a real legend. Who wants to say
Yeah,
something
I
about
was
Avery
gonna
Brooks?
yeah, I
I
was
mean, I
gonna
just
say
think he's
something
amazing.
because of that role, he was so people were so familiar with him, is why in the beginning Cisco didn't have the go and had her. And Avery, if I recall reading, that wasn't him. He didn't like that. And so it took a little bit for them to get Cisco to get to that look that we know so well.
Yeah, they thought the hair
Mhm.
and lack of beard
Which
made him look like a less threatening black
that
man.
isn't that that's horrible.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
That's
I
just
know, but I
crazy.
do love
But he scored because he ends up having two different Star Trek action figures
yeah.
as a result, because they did both
But
versions.
he yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, I mean,
But he had that in a time where he didn't really see a positive relationship with his son. And when I
yeah.
to Rock and I mean they still talk. They're still in contact, weekly or daily or something. But yeah, they never lost contact. Rock said that Avery sort of included him in his family, and people thought that Sirach was actually his son this time. So, and you can see it comes on the screen when Cisco and Jake are together. You see beyond just the acting, you see the genuine connection.
Yeah, but a real just genuine legend, right? I mean, it'd just be so cool to be able to have a conversation with him. But and just one of those actors, you just see the stagecraft, the theater in everything he does. He's just got so much precise control and so much emotion that he's able to bring to his roles. I just think he's phenomenal, but a real craftsman of the highest order. So we salute you, sir, and I hope I would love to cross paths with you and hear your thoughts someday. Maybe come on this show if you ever find yourself one night going, I need to talk to some crazy people. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. But wonderful, wonderful performer. So, and I think there may be even more folks we have still to acknowledge, courtesy of Uncle Jim. He's usually got a Klingon sitting under his desk somewhere.
Yeah, I like to do the Klingons. Well, I kind of have a Klingon. So we want to say happy birthday to Dennis Danger Matalone. He's a stuntman and stunt coordinator who served as stunt coordinator for TNG, beginning with its third season, DS9, and Voyager. I personally am going to remember him as appearing as the Klingon operative Atul in the DS episode The Visionary. And you can see there he is right up on the screen as a Klingon, but he's been a Borg, he's been a Cardassian, he's been many, many things. He's also been on the podcast, and he's a really good friend of ours, the Leslie Hoffman. And oddly enough, something you guys may or may not have known, he's the one that created the Klingon Batlith combat
Oh,
training. I don't know what you call it, but he's the one that taught the Klingons how to wield the
huh.
Batlith. And Leslie Hoffman talked about that a lot on our podcast when we used to do it, called Stunt Treks, which you guys can find over at TrekTalking.com. So happy birthday to Dennis Danger Madelone. And not a Klingon, although I bet you she could kick some Klingon ass if she really wanted to. A friend of the show, we had her on the podcast. We want to say happy birthday to Elizabeth Dennehy, and there she is right there. She played Elizabeth Shelby in the TNG third and fourth season episodes of Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and Part 2. She also appeared in Picard's third season episode Vox as Admiral Dennehy and on Lower Decks. And she was awesome. If you guys missed our interview with her, go and check that out at trektalking.com, because she was a pleasure to
And
talk with. A
did
lot
she
of
talk
fun.
about her, because her father is Brian Dennehy. So, did she talk about him and like growing up?
She did.
Yes.
She was what a storyteller. Yeah, she's got a long
Nice.
life, and she was shared a lot about her
Oh,
personal
wonderful.
life and relationship with that. Yeah, so definitely check it out.
Yeah, she was a delight to talk to.
Splendid guest, really, really great. I mean, wow.
Yeah, sometimes you happen upon a really good one, and she was one of them. So happy birthday to a Borg expert, Commander Shelby. And like, is she really dead? Like, did we actually see a body?
We didn't see a body.
We didn't see a body. So,
Make
she could
make
be
a
floating
audio
around
book
somewhere.
about her.
She there could be an audio drama about her at a later
There we
date.
go.
Who knows? All right, guys. So that wraps up our Star Trek birthdays for this week. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you learned a lot. And I hope that you shared a birthday with one of your favorite actors. And that brings us up to our Star Trek news. And that means, where is it? Right here. Why is it not working? There we go. All right, guys. This is our Star Trek news section, where we can find out what's going on around the Star Trek universe. And Eric has our first story for the week. So, Eric, take it away.
Yeah, Jim, this week we have a rare, not weird thing that Shatner said, but we are going to talk about Mr. Shatner in our Shatner Says What section. Unfortunately, he is still with us because, of course, at 94 years old, he was rushed to the hospital, and he's now talking about it. Fans have been holding their breath since hearing William Shatner was rushed to the hospital earlier this week. That would have been last week. Shatner is one of the most iconic individuals in TV history and has a special place in many Star Trek fans' hearts. So news of an apparent medical emergency on Wednesday, the 24th of September, left many fans of the 94-year-old worried. In regard to being rushed to the hospital, information began to trickle out on social media, and we learned that the reason for his hospital visit was due to him suffering an issue with his blood sugar. Shatner then took to X to insist that he was perfectly fine. He even joked that rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. He added, "I overindulged. I thank you all for caring, but I'm perfectly fine. I keep telling you all, don't trust tabloids or AI." In a follow-up, Shatner continued to make light of his hospital trip and highlighted an upcoming appearance at a convention. He said, "Salt Lakers, I'll be at Fan X in Salt Lake City. Better come see me before another tabloid tries to kill me off." This was a great relief to fans who took to Shatner's comments section. One fan wrote, "Good to hear from you. Yes, we were worried. We still want you here on Earth for a bit longer." Another added, "Full recovery, Captain, at warp speed. That's an order." A third wrote, "I'm sending some extra love to you today, Captain. No matter how else my day goes, it's better because I know you're all right." And another fan simply said, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." So we are extremely happy that Mr. Shatner is still with us, because without him, we don't have a Shatner Says What segment. No, but seriously, so glad you're here. So glad you can still keep doing the convention scene, and we hope that you are with us for many years to come.
And I will throw out a shameless plug. He's going to be at Trek Ticonderoga in Ticonderoga, New York, the original series Star Trek tours on November 16th and 17th. So head up to my neck of the woods, say hello to William Shatner, check out the Trek Talking table while you're there. All right, and this next one I had to do for Paul. When I saw this, I said, "This is for Paul." So take it away, Paul.
Thank you, Uncle Jim. And so we had Mr. Shatner overindulging, he says. Too much Saurian brandy, I guess. Well, he's entitled. He's entitled. Let's talk toys, because we got a fascinating look at some of the Nacelle Company's new Star Trek figures, even without a single one of them actually released yet. And in our grubby little hands, the thing we love most about Nacelle's line of Star Trek action figures is the company's willingness to get as weird and dorky about its lineup as any Trekkie out there would. Picard and Kirk before calling it a day? Not here. How about Tuvix and Weyoom? How about Captain Janeway, but a version of her very specific to one episode? What about Jellicoe? What about Bam? Bam! Nacelle's desire to cover the whole breadth of the Star Trek means we've had a look at 3 waves worth of wonderfully deep-cut action figures the company has plans for so far. Wave 3, at least, acquiesces to Star Trek's 60th anniversary next year, which is going to be hard on our wallets, friends. Let me tell you. Wow. And because they're going to have a round dedicated entirely to the main crew of the original Star Trek. So that's just one entire wave. So you get them all in one fell swoop, which is great. But revealed to audiences at Nacelle's panel at FanX Salt Lake, and in to Paul's case, timed to the Enterprise's 25th anniversary of that series. We got these renders that your Patreon folks can see up on the screen here right now of Bem and to Paul, joining Wave 2 alongside Generations Captain Kirk, Worf and Geordi in their sailor uniforms in the same movie, Captain Janeway with that iconic Year of Hell 2-parter look, Ensign Nog from Deep Space Nine, Valeris from The Undiscovered Country, and Carol Marcus from Wrath of Khan. Oh, I can't even keep track. This is a lot of action figures going on here, friends. And the one I'm most excited about, the Romulan commander from one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek ever made, Balance of Terror. Okay, that is an overdue figure. I can't wait for that. His wave is due to ship out next year. 2026, I believe, is next year, last I checked. But as you can see, Bem is just amazing. The wave's due to ship alongside the rest of Wave 2, and it retails for about $29 a pop. But you can pre-order them now, and they are going to be shipping at some point next year, which is great news here. So let's talk about these just a little bit, okay? Enterprise's no-nonsense science officer, an XO, except when she's smearing gel all over herself, is, of course, T'Pol on board the NX-01. T'Pol comes with a host of accessories inspired by the back half of the show. Wearing her Season 3 jumpsuit, no gel included, T'Pol comes with 4 sets of alternate hands and includes a pad, an extra data module, a phase pistol, a communicator, a Vulcan hand scanner, and a book that's, I'm sure, all about gel. And a canister of Trillium D ore from the episode called Impulse, and her mother's Cyrenite Idic pendant from the episode called Awakening. So it's a very T'Pol-centric set of accessories that you can have there. Now we're going back for a serious deep cut, though, because we're having the very first animated series figure in Nacelle's line. Ari Bem faithfully recreates the mysterious Pandronian commander from the original series Season 2 episode Bem, right down to a T, friends, including the fact that his head, torso, and legs can be split apart as they did in the show and connected back again together by magnets. Or as Bem would have put it, this one must disassemble. And I think that was a Jimmy Doohan voice work for Ben, if I remember
That's
correctly.
pretty good voice there. That was very accurate there, Paul. I was like, holy crap. Am I watching the
Sorry,
episode right now?
I watched a lot of animated television as a child. It's just, more information than anyone wants to know. It explains a lot. BEM's accessories include an alternate head, 2 sets of Type 1 phasers and handheld communicators, and 2 sets of inner noodly arms. And if that wasn't enough, he even comes with a piece of wooden caging to replicate the rudimentary prison he found himself in on Delta Theta 3. So, wow, I mean, look at that. That's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on there. I still would love to get Brian Volkweiss from The Cell on the show and get him to talk to us about his incredible deep cut series of action figures. I hope these all see the light of day. These are such crazy times to be launching an action figure line with the tariffs and the nonsense and the shipping and the craziness and it's just, he's a heroic guy for attempting to pull this off. I'm just really excited for these to start showing up in our greedy little hands. But every few weeks we get something exciting. By my watch, in just a few short days, it's going to be New York Comic Con. So who knows? That's a big releasing news event every year, I will tell you, from firsthand experience. And so maybe he's going to show up there and release even more news info of upcoming figures or prototypes. And hopefully we can chat about those in a future news segment. But this is a treat to see. And if you don't know Ben and you have not disassembled, then you should be watching the animated series and learning who this character is. And the animated series is great. Yes, it's canon. So don't be afraid of it. Dive deep, live long, and prosper.
And similarly, Paul, if you have not watched a lot of Enterprise, as some folks I know have not watched a lot, you might not know that this book is, of course, from the Star Trek Enterprise episode, the 7th, that Paul is carrying. And it's a physical book from Vulcan that she keeps with her while she's on the Enterprise. So it's a little bit of a kind of sentimental reminder. It's a little bit of her like Vulcan emotion sort of coming through, that she still has this book with her right now.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. I need to get back in there and watch some more Enterprises, because every time I watch one that you recommend, it's amazing. So a lot of good stuff in there. I think it's enjoying kind of a little bit of a resurgence, right? As people discover it. And
well, a little bit. And there was that news. And there was that news story about what's his name, Jonathan Archer. Scott Bakula wanting to like get back into the game. So
Did you say Count Dracula? Is that
Count Dracula, Scott Bakula.
So who knows what's.
I just want to know, because yes, I know you were talking about me, Eric. I have not watched Enterprise. I can't get past that full theme song.
Skip intro, baby. That's all you got to do. Skip intro.
But no, I need to find out about this to Paul and whatever.
It's one. Listen, it's one. I don't want you to like form your opinions of the show based on one episode where they have to decontaminate one another.
Yeah, and I think
hey, that's a heavy spoiler alert, man. Don't.
And they reference.
Whoa, you're harshing my mellow.
They reference that to decks.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. It's like it's the pancake syrup of
It's like a very weirdly sexy and just strange scene in Star Trek Enterprise.
I can imagine. Yeah, between that and this BEM character, and where it says the noodly arms, I just lost it. So
you got a lot of homework, B. But you know what? What a great segue, because don't you have the next news segment?
If I can keep.
Am I mistaken?
And V,
yes.
The best part about watching Enterprise is Cybok.
Oh, am I there?
And I'm not going to tell you any more than that. You got to watch it to find out how Cybok fits in to T'Pol's family line. I don't want to spoil it for you. Yeah.
Oh.
That's it. You turned her off, Jim.
Yeah, that's it. I scared her away. She said, none of that.
I'm here.
Now we can hear you again.
Yeah, my internet has just been like flaking out here of times, but let me get through this as quickly as I can see if I can do it without cracking up. So beloved Star Trek alum feels the time is right to reprise iconic role. Nearly a decade has passed since the last installment from J.J. Abrams' Star Trek reboot series hit theaters, and the actor who took over the role of Mr. Spock from Leonard Nimoy, and absolutely, as I recall, um, is ready to put his Vulcan ears, bangs, and trademark blue uniform on again. While appearing on Today to promote the debut of NBC's medical drama Brilliant Minds Season 2, Zachary Quinto was asked by renowned weatherman and TV personality Al Roker if there's a chance of reuniting with Abrams on a Star Trek 4. Quinto responded by saying, "Al, you know what? Get him on the phone. I feel like it would be it's a great time. It's been 10 years since the last film. We all love each other. We have a great time making these movies. I think we'd all love to come back together and tell one more. I think fans would be really excited by it. And I think the time is right, if you ask me." I was in touch with him about something else recently and out there that
I think we lost V.
I'm here. Oh, no. Oh, can you hear me?
Nope. Yes, maybe.
I
Okay.
hear her. I hear
Okay.
V.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
have to be patient because remember her recording will come through later. So even if we can't hear it live, we'll hear it
Okay.
later.
All right. I'm almost done here.
You're
Okay,
good.
good. Let's see. So be really excited. The time was right. There's the possibility, but I feel like there's always the possibility. For years, there's scripts circulating, there's directors attached. I think we just need to look at to lock it down and clear our schedules. Let's do it. Star Trek 4 sounds like a good idea in theory, so the series can finally get back on track. However, it will be bittersweet without Anton Yelchin's Mr. Chekhov in the mix following the actor's untimely death. That's it.
And that is
That is
that.
it.
We
Yeah.
made it. We made it. And Paul, you made it.
We got to give up. If listeners don't know what we're talking about, I just have to say we have to give up a giant collective kudos to a chief engineer, David, here tonight, because this is the first week in months that I have not been summarily multiple times ejected out of the various torpedo tubes of the show. Thanks to David's tenacious crawling through various Jeffries tubes and scanning things to figure out why the hell I kept having the app launch me off of things. So we got through the whole thing, made some adjustments to the app, and able to do the show with not a single disconnect. So really appreciate it, David. Not an easy thing, especially given how much I hate technology. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad it worked.
Thank you. I think we need these applause on a regular basis. Yes, more of that.
Absolutely. Keep it rolling.
And when the Democrats retain power, everyone will get beer kegs for everyone in their home and unlimited pastrami and rye sandwiches as well. A free IDIC coin to wear around your neck. And sorry, Uncle Jim has the floor. Uncle Jim.
Yeah, I think Eric. I think that David did an excellent job. I've been sending him things from Riverside. They've been making suggestions and 32-digit audio clips and all this other stuff. But I think we got you back on track, Paul. So welcome back. It's
I'm
great to
thrilled,
have
man.
you.
It was great. So it's nice to not be able to, just not worry about stuff. It's great just to be able to just get in there and talk about stuff, right? It's just such a pleasure. So
You weren't even
onward.
you weren't even glitchy at all.
Yeah, I
You were
actually
just
heard every
constant streaming.
Yeah. So we made some adjustments, a lot of research to figure it out. So David's a man. So appreciate it, brother.
So when
Yeah,
we talk
you're
to
welcome.
Adam Nimoy, you'll be ready to go.
All right.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up our podcast for this week. Next week, we're going to be doing Khan episode 2. So please check that out. I'll get a link up on our Facebook page so you guys can listen to it as well. So I'm your most excellent host, Uncle Jim, saying everybody please stay safe and be good to each other. And remember, Star Trek fans are the best fans. Live long and prosper, and good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night, all.
night.
Night, y'all.
Live long and prosper.
Okay.